So you've heard, probably from me and probably not for the first or last time, about the importance of filling out an advanced directive. But what is an advanced directive anyway? Well, an advanced directive consists of two important parts, the first of which I'm going to discuss here. The first part is the designation of the healthcare representative, proxy, surrogate, agent, or medical power of attorney. What's that all mean and why so many words? Well, in a nutshell, the advanced directives you need for your end of life peace of mind are created, legislated, and recognized by the state where you live. Just like most everything else, each state uses different terminology to represent the same thing. You'll need to find your advanced directives online through your state's Department of Health. I practice in southern Indiana and central Kentucky, so I'll be using examples from those states. In Kentucky, you choose a healthcare, two words, surrogate. In Indiana, it's a health hyphen care representative and power of attorney. Now, throwing power of attorney in there opens up a whole other can of worms, which I will discuss in a moment. Suffice it to say, both of these entities are the same, only the terminology is different. So, who is the health hyphen separate word care representative or surrogate, and what do they do? Well, the legal definition of all these worded differently but the same thing designations is a person you choose to make medical decisions for you if you are physically or mentally unable to do so. So, if you're in an accident and unconscious, the physicians need someone to tell them if you should be admitted for surgery, have testing done, if they should give you an IV and pain medications, or whatever else you might need. Now, I take a bit of an issue with the legal definition of these terms. As I stated at the beginning of this video, an advance directive consists of two parts. Designating a representative, surrogate, proxy, etc. is only one part. The second is the living will, which is the part of the document where a person explains in as much detail as possible what they want to happen when they become incapacitated. Now, I'm going to talk about all of that in another video, so I'm not jumping too far ahead right now. I just need to point out that if you fill out your advance directive in its entirety, your surrogate does not need to make decisions for you because you've already made those decisions for yourself. Instead, your representative only has to make your decisions and wishes known. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like that takes a huge amount of pressure off the person you ask to be your representative or surrogate or whatever your state wants to call them. So, it should be much easier to approach the person you'd like to speak for you and ask them for this because, frankly, even if you've outlined everything and tried to think of every possible scenario, this whole representative surrogate thing is a pretty big deal with some responsibility and some possible stress. For this reason, it is important to think carefully about who you want to be that person for you. It doesn't have to be your spouse or your significant other. For one thing, the probability that you and your spouse or SO could be incapacitated, injured, or killed at the same time is not zero. Also, if something happens to suddenly incapacitate you, your spouse or SO may be feeling too many tumultuous emotions to want the added responsibility of being the one the doctor is coming to every 5 minutes. Your surrogate representative person can be a friend, a neighbor, a goth Betty, or a hairdresser. As long as you thoughtfully fill out your advance directives and communicate your wishes to the person you're asking, It can be anyone who is comfortable making your wishes known and speaking for you. And sometimes the person you can most count on not to lose their head in a crisis isn't related to you at all. Oh, if you think that was hard, did I forget to mention you need a second one? Sort of like a backup. So, if you choose your son as your first designated surrogate representative, but he's in the Bahamas with his girlfriend who you don't even really approve of, you're going to need someone else. That person needs to be a second designation, and you need to make sure they're geographically close to you so they can be there right away. A quick but important aside here. If you are LGBTQ+, or if you're in an abusive relationship or home, it is especially important that you take time, fill out your advance directive in as much detail as possible, and ensure that an ally has those wishes and can be your representative. There are many sad stories about people whose final wishes were completely disregarded by family that did not agree with those wishes. Oh, and back to that medical power of attorney can of worms I mentioned earlier. A power of attorney is not the same thing as a health care or medical power of attorney. A power of attorney grants someone the legal authority to act on someone else's behalf in legal and financial matters, not medical decisions. In my days as a surgical counselor, I encountered a lot of patients who thought their power of attorney was their health care designate. They can be the same person, but they are not automatically the same person. Your POA can have access to your checking account and can be sure that your mortgage and your utilities and all your bills are paid while you are incapacitated. But unless you designate your power of attorney as also your healthcare representative or surrogate, they cannot legally make decisions about the kind of medical care you receive. And something else most people don't know about a power of attorney: the authority of the power of attorney expires as soon as you have died. So then another entity has to take over. Confusing, right? I know it can be confusing, but I hope that I've at least explained a little bit about what this first step entails and how important it is to pick the right person to be your representative or surrogate. Some joker thought it was a good idea to pick a single day, National Healthcare Decisions Day, April 16th of every year, to promote the importance of filling out advance directives. But obviously, it is not something that can be done in a single day. This takes time and reflection, and that's before we even get to the living will section of the advance directive. So I'll be back soon to cover that second part of the advance directives in more detail. So tune in again. And if you'd like to talk to me about how Shoji Bridge Departure Doula can help you make and communicate your end-of-life wishes, that's what I'm here for. So drop me an email, a private message, or call.